Hello, hello, and welcome to Sanctified Nation with Shavariel. That is me. Happy Monday to everyone, and may you all be staying safe. It's the beginning of a new week here in January 2024. So, I hope everyone is having a productive day, and then also staying safe as always. If this is your first time watching this video, I want to thank you for your time because each moment matters. You have to have thought of something that was important for you to click on this video, and I thank you so much for giving your time. And to the subscribers in Sanctified Nation, thank you so much for being within this family because we are being sanctified by the word of God over here. So, to this anticipated interview, we're talking Jonathan Majors. He did an interview this morning on ABC, Good Morning America. And here are, you would have to, what I encourage you to do, if you want to, I cannot compel you, I cannot force you to do something. However, if you want to watch the full interview, you certainly can do so. They may have uploaded it on YouTube already. And from what I could understand, there was supposed to be more of the interview airing later on this week, maybe. Or even today, I'm not sure. But from what was gathered by his interview today, it's mixed emotions, and Jonathan is not going to be able to tell us everything because remember, he is still having to go to court for sentencing for his verdict of the case against his ex-girlfriend and not the allegations and the proceedings there. So there were a few takeaways that I gathered from it. And of course, I have scriptures concluding the last of my messages. So, one of the first things that I noticed was that the interviewer, and she did a great job with interviewing, with her poise, with her just ability to hold eye contact with Jonathan, and she did an amazing job. What a lot of people probably would have liked a question to be asked was, Jonathan, would you be able to say if the woman whom you were texting in the vehicle, in the SUV, on the date of the incident that happened earlier of last year of 2023, would you be able to say if that was Meagan Good, if that was your quote-unquote alleged Cleopatra, the one who texted you, I wish I were kissing you right now? Would you be able to tell us that? She didn't ask that question. And that question is important because why? It tells us a few things. One, we already know, obviously, that he was cheating on his ex-girlfriend, Grace. Okay, that's not good. Cheating is bad, period. I don't care who you are. Number two, that would speak to some level as to why Meagan Good would stay with Jonathan. Because if Meagan Good knew that that was not her he was texting back then, that was somebody else, she probably almost certainly would not have stayed with him during the full duration of his case. I'm almost sure of it. Because what woman is going to stand by a man who was in a relationship, which he was with his ex-girlfriend Grace, and then to be talking to another woman who says, I wish I were kissing you right now, and then going to then Meagan Good? No woman was going to do that. And then the third thing is, if it were Meagan Good, that speaks to her character as well. Because you know that man was in a relationship. He had not broken it off with her. He didn't say we're not together. They were in a vehicle together. They had an apartment together. They were traveling together, it seems like. because reportedly they had a residence in London. Now, I'm not sure if that's his ex-girlfriend Grace's residency. She has a British accent. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but she has an accent, seems British. So maybe that's where she's from, London. It seems like they had a residence over there and then here in the United States. So if that were true, and if he were texting Meagan Good while being with his then girlfriend, it was still his girlfriend in the vehicle, so that we are told. If we weren't told, that's something different. That doesn't look good on Meagan. And Meagan, that's not good for you, because you're saying you're willing to cheat with a man while he's in a whole nother relationship, and you are willing to send text messages like that while he's with his woman. So that was like a good question to ask him, but that wasn't asked yet. Now, it could have been asked later on, and we just didn't get to see that today. So I guess we'll see later. So then there's that. And then Jonathan did say when he was asked, well, he was asked rather, were you reckless with her body, his ex-girlfriend Grace's body? He said he was reckless with her heart, not her body. And it's good that he takes accountability for that, to say that he was reckless with her heart, because he was playing games. Okay, that's just what it is. Now, the reason why the interviewer asked that question is because there was an accusation of where his ex-girlfriend was hurt, bruised on certain parts of her body. And that's why she was asking that. Were you reckless in bodily injury with this woman? But he said, I was reckless with her heart, not her body. Now, remember, he has to be careful of answering these questions, because he has to go to court on Friday, in February next month, for sentencing. So as far as the young lady's injuries go, I'm not the one to speculate, because all sorts of things are possible. What I can say is, if her injuries came after, or not from Jonathan, maybe they came when she went to go drink or went to a club or whatever she did after she and Jonathan went their separate ways after the vehicle incident that night. Maybe her injuries occurred while she was out drinking or partying or whatever it is that she was doing. It seems like maybe the young lady has an issue with alcohol, because she went drinking, and then there was a conversation that was played where it seems like Jonathan's ex-girlfriend was recording their conversation unknowingly to him. I think that's against the law in some states, where you have to let the person know that you're recording them. At least it is here on the West Coast. Now, East Coast may be different, but it was where he was saying, you came home drunk, disturbing the peace of our home. Well, that just sounds like a man that doesn't want his woman to be drunk. I mean, that's understandable and it's reasonable. He doesn't want his woman to drink. Things happen when a person is under the influence of intoxicating drinks. So, I mean, I can understand that. But maybe her injuries occurred there. We don't know. And let's not forget that there are movies like A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, where if a woman becomes so bitter and so delusional, now this can be men too, and men harm themselves too, but in the mainstream of things, it is the woman who can, not all women, it is a woman who may be bitter, who may be hurt, who may be broken, to go and injure herself. Hit herself in the arm, grab an orange, put it in the stocking, bam, bam, or take it to the eye, bam, bam. Slam her arm in a door to make it seem like she was grabbed, or choke herself out. These are things that happen, so we can't pretend and say like they don't happen. So that's one thing. And another thing that not to say and another thing that would have occurred, I mean, that has occurred during his interview, somebody is calling me, so it's like throwing me off, is that he still regards Meagan Good as his Coretta Scott King. I'm going to need you. Jonathan, listen. Somebody send this to Jonathan, okay? Jonathan, no woman in the world can be like a Coretta Scott King. I'm going to need you to let that go, bro. Okay? No woman is going to be like a Coretta Scott King, okay? You have a Meagan Good. Refer to her as Meagan Good. And I know some people's just like, well, he was just saying, da, 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 da. Listen, okay? I know what the brother is saying. Okay, we here. All right? My thing is this. Listen, this is a new day, okay? You cannot compare yourself to a Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay, Jonathan, I know the boundaries that you are breaking and acting is phenomenal. However, that is different than a Dr. Martin Luther King, and Dr. Martin Luther King Day is coming up. I'm going to explain this to you. Dr. Martin Luther King was going out risking his freedom and the health and safety of others for civil rights. Black and white people couldn't even sit at a counter with each other. Okay, brother? All right? So, you cannot compare you two. Okay? It was illegal back then for a colored person, black or brown, to go into a white colored bathroom. You couldn't drink from the same fountain. You couldn't go into the same restaurant. And if you go into the same restaurant, they not having black folks go in there. They telling them to go in the back. Okay, no, you're not sitting at my counter and dirtying up my seats with your black self. No, you go get your food in the back. That's how they used to talk to us as African Americans. And the thing about it is, even on buses, a black person couldn't sit at the front of the bus. No, you got to go to the back. And if anything happened on that bus or there was a riot or something, black folks had to get off that bus and white folks still got to be taken home or to work. So I need you to understand that, Jonathan, there is no Coretta Scott King other than Coretta Scott King. Okay? Meagan Good went to court for you for domestic violence and assault. Coretta Scott King was by her husband to fight for human rights for black and brown people and for women. Okay, that's not the same thing. There were people being bombed because white people and black people were meeting up to see how they could coordinate peaceful walks, peaceful marches to fight for equal rights. Coretta Scott, we don't know what Coretta Scott King went through. Every time her husband left the door and she was with her 4 or 5 children, because he was going to go and fight in Congress for our rights, fight in the government for our rights, fight in the city that he was in at that time for our rights. It's not the same. He was facing his life being taken every day he stepped out that door. And Coretta Scott knew it. Okay, that's a whole different woman. We don't know what she went through to have to tell her children that, what she went through just with her to say, what if my husband doesn't come back? That's not the same thing, going to court for domestic violence or assault charges. Okay, so Jonathan, we know you love Coretta Scott King. We love her too. We love her. I love Dr. Martin Luther King. Didn't even watch his speech in person, but just how he flowed in the Holy Spirit to see all kinds of people, black, white, Muslim, Jewish, Irish, all kinds of people, African American, Hispanic, to see all those people at the Million Man March. They're hearing this man speak about what is good for everybody. It's a common ground. You are my brother. I am your sister. Why are we fighting over the same rights? I'm just as human as you, and you're just as human as I am. That's what that was. So we know you love Coretta Scott King. We love her. We love the Martin, the King family. But brother, you need to start acknowledging that you have a Megan Good. Okay? She is Megan Good, not Coretta Scott. Okay, that was a different time. Different fight. Okay, you are not going on enemy lines every time you step outside your door to white Americans who feel like you shouldn't even be stepping on a sidewalk. Okay, maybe so in a different state, but now it's 2024, it's different. Okay, and I had to give you that harshly so that you can understand. All right, and another thing that he said, the interviewer asked him about the text messages that Jonathan sent about wanting to remove himself from this earth. Now, Jonathan said that he had been through a lot since a boy, since being raised in the south of Texas. He said he felt that way then. He does not feel that way now. Well, yes, he can feel that way. It's a new day. But that's still an issue, because from my experience, and I used to do it, threaten that I would take myself from this earth to get attention. Now, everybody else is different. I can't speak for why Jonathan said it. I'm just speaking why I spoke it, to get attention, because it felt like nobody was paying me attention at a moment, or I needed more attention just in a bad way. But the thing about that kind of spirit is, it's never good. It is never normal to say that you want to remove yourself from earth in a violent way. We do not have the right to take other people's lives, and we do not have the right to take our own lives. It's something serious there. So yes, you may feel differently now, Jonathan, but you still need to look deep into that, because that is not a spirit that goes away on its own. You're going to have to consecrate yourself. You're going to have to go into therapy. You're going to have to dig deep for a long time to see why is it that you sent those text messages a year ago. You are 30-something years old. Jonathan, you're 34. Megan Good, you're 42. We forget that there is an age gap there. Okay, the decisions that we make as adults, we know what we're doing, and it matters and it counts. So if you see something like that within yourself, go get professional help if you can. That is nothing to play with. Those type of spirits that talking about offing yourself from earth in a violent way, it's never good. And that has to be tamed. And that has to be corrected. So, what do we learn from this? To Megan Good. Now, I know I said your ages, because we need to understand the full effect of this thing. And because this is a learning lesson for all of us. Megan Good, you are Jonathan's elder. You're 42, he's 34. Okay? Now, you may love him. And that was the thing toward the end of the interview. The interview said, you know, how do you feel about Megan? And he said she's an angel. You know, and it could be that. It could be that. There's no hate on that. It could be that. Jonathan, I'm going to ask you to understand who Megan is. Not look at her as a teddy bear that you can just clutch because you're going through a trial. Do you understand what I mean? So any person can look good to you if you're going through a trial or if you're going through tribulations. Why? Because it is that person who has the support of you when it seems like everybody else has left. And you cling on to that person, sometimes in the wrong way. And you forget that this is a human being, not a teddy bear, that you can just cling, and then when you get out of your trance When you get out of your trial, your tribulation, you then start to put that teddy down, because now you're moving back into yourself before your tribulation, before you were being tried. You see, in your trial and tribulation, you're being humbled lowly. But before the trial, you were up and I'm a great man. And this is what he was saying. This is what Jonathan was saying. I'm a great man. Okay. It's good to have confidence. No doubting you there. But remember that you have a person who is now included in your baggage. Everybody has baggage, okay? But she is involved in your baggage now. You remember that Megan is a human being. That is a woman, not a teddy bear, a human teddy bear that you can just hold and cling to because she is your lifeline. God needs to be your lifeline. Jesus needs to be your lifeline, not a human being. And I tell you that so you don't misuse and abuse her. Megan. Now, you may love him. I'm going to tell you this now. If that was you, that man was texting while he was with his then girlfriend, who then they broke up the next day, you wrong for that. You are wrong for that. To tell that man you wish you were kissing him and he had a full girlfriend. I don't care if he told you that they were planning on breaking up that same afternoon. If they hadn't broke up, well, then you shouldn't be talking to him in that type of way. You're wrong if that was you. If you were the Cleopatra that he was texting on that day. If you weren't, well, Megan, you need to look into that, because that's not a good look for you either. You need to see who this man was talking to before that, because if that means that wasn't you as Cleopatra in the text messages, well, then this man got too many options. As for women, he needs to slow down, know who he wants, and then make the decision on if he is going to be with that woman, if that is not you. Now, again, if that was you and you were texting that man, you're wrong for that, because that man was in a whole nother relationship. You're wrong. But Megan, you should also see there are some red flags there. Okay, this man said that, and I'm not picking on him, I'm just saying we have to be watchful. This man said that he wanted to remove himself from the earth because he's felt like that since he was a little boy. That's a red flag. And though, like I said, that type of spirit doesn't go away that easy on its own. A person has to really work and dig deep to do the healing. And they need God. He's not going to be able to do that without God, the Lord God. So if you really love him, see to it that you work with him if you want to. You don't have to. But see to it that he gets professional help. Make that a requirement for him if you're going to continue being with that man. Because more than likely, people that do that then turn on the people who are close to them. Out of anger. Out of rebellion. Out of just hurt. You need to make it a requirement for Jonathan to go seek professional help to get that corrected. Okay? So to make sure you're safe. And make sure that he's safe and healthy too. So, and you two, I'm not sure. I mean, that's your personal business. I'm not sure if you two are intimate, but at this point in time, if you are and you're fornicating, stop. Okay? Because I wish I were kissing you. That's leading to other things. And you have to remember that this man just went through a trial. And now he has to go forth with sentencing in a case. Do not play on that man's emotions. Okay? Do yourself some good and do him some good. And abstain from intimacy until you both can work this thing out in a healthy way. And you two can grow together healthily and move past this process of his case. Adding intimacy on top of it is not going to do anything. Trust me, I know, because I had experienced the same thing with my children's father. And he brought his girlfriend to court. Did it last? No, it didn't. And he and I ended up back together sometime later. And then I was just like, this isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to do. This isn't how it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to be like this. And so we separated. But I've seen that before. He brought his girlfriend to court, and I was the victim then. I'm just saying this to make you understand. I'm not talking just to talk. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying he and Grace will get back together. No, after this, that is done. Like, that's done. Okay, from all the criticism that he has gotten, and it's affected his work. See, once you affect a man's work, his job, his well-being, his living, it's over. That man ain't going back to that woman. Hopefully he sorry this took so long, but I was wanting to make sure I was thorough with everything. May this find you well, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.